Good evening and welcome to Encore with Zoe Ryan on Midlands 103. On tonight's show, I'll be learning about what it takes to make a chart-topping hit from a group of Offaly students, discussing the unseen side of writing and finding out what happens when you combine Indian and Irish music in Laois. A little later on in the show, I'll be chatting to Westmeath writer Liza Costello on a new chapter in her writing in the wake of the announcement that her play In the Garden has been chosen as part of this year's Scripps Writing Festival. Indian-born but now Portlaoise-based creative Moumita and the CEO of Dunamaise Art Centre Ciara O'Connell will be filling us in on what to expect from their upcoming event Solas, and we'll have some new music from Abbey Leak singer-songwriter June Kerwin. But first, I am delighted to be joined now in studio by music industry and event management students at LOETB Birr, Jack Concannon and Molly Kavanagh, along with their teacher John McFadden, to discuss their recent event. You are all very welcome onto Encore.
Thanks for having us, Zoe.
Right, now, what makes a hit in 2026? Immediately, the title caught my eye, but where did the idea for such an event come from? Why did you want to run an event of this kind?
It came from, in the music industry class this year, Zoe, that I would sort of mention things like the charts, because when I was growing up, what was a hit was whatever was in the charts. So like in the class, for example, we would look at, the IRMA, the official chart company charts, the radio monitor charts, even TikTok charts, Shazam charts, etc., etc. But I could see from the students' faces that really they didn't really care in terms of chart metrics the way I would have when I was kind of growing up. So that kind of idea came about from that. I think when I was growing up, it was very easy. You had a hit, you sold albums, you sold out shows. So we knew there was still something that made you popular. Like last year I was at All Together Now and I saw acts fill out stages and tents, but technically they probably never had a massive hit. So that's really where the idea of what makes a hit in 2026 came from. Now, there's a little bit more behind it, because the panel that both Jack here and Molly beside me interviewed we had Keith Johnson from IMRO, we had Aaron Casey from Rap, we had G from Symphonic, and we also had Marion Shanley, who's an artist and she works for a different station.
So a pretty prestigious lineup there of guests.
Absolutely, because in addition to the whole idea of discussing what makes a hit, we presented the audience potentially with a station where they could have their song played, which would give them the criteria to become a member of IMRO, for example. So there was that. But also then it was to look at other things in terms of when you had G then from Symphonic, I mean, that's definitely a mover and shaker in the music distribution kind of world. So we were trying to present the audience there that, look, here are people who have answers to questions that you don't normally get access to, but also a networking opportunity that you can meet these people on a first name basis, get their contact details, and maybe develop from there, because these are people that are going to help you in terms of earning royalties, and beyond, like what a hit is. Because a hit at the end of the day is something that's going to earn you money.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Absolutely. And from a student perspective, I suppose, Jack and Molly, why was it that you felt that this was a really timely event to run?
Well, like John mentioned there's so many artists in the country nowadays, and every day more is beginning. And so many of them don't know what IMRO is or what rap is or what. They don't look at the charts. It's of no interest to them. Like, they care about making their music, and that's it, really. So I suppose why we thought it was important right now is because to try and push the newcoming artists towards making it into a career rather than just a hobby.
Yeah. And what about you, Molly? What kind of role did you play on the day?
I was one of the hosts along with Jack. We kind of sat up the top and asked the questions to our lovely panel. But I think it's just very important because, like Jack said, a lot of people don't know that you can make it a career rather than just a hobby. So I think it was great to have people who played music. Like, we had a former student of John's, Finlay. He was there with us, and he is a musician. He's in college for it at the minute. But he might know how to set up something like an IMRO, be with IMRO or rap. So it was cool to have them there to learn.
And even the fact that this course that you're doing exists, I do apologise for my ignorance. I was completely unaware that such a course was so close to home. John, has this been running for a long time, this course?
You know what? It's hard to believe it's only ran for 2 years.
Yeah. Well, I'm not surprised in a sense, because I
Yeah.
feel like it is one of the ones that you felt you'd have to go to maybe the cities to get.
Yeah, and you know, one of the reasons that we had that event was because we feel these events happen in, like, you know, Galway, Cork, Limerick, Dublin,
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
whole time.
Yeah.
So we were really proud, and I was very proud of the students here that they ran such an event, like in the Midlands. And I think it's great to be able to push that forward. We're very lucky because the success that we've had in the 2 years has been phenomenal. Like last year, talking about, again, the concept of hits came about last year when Molly was a student, and we did the cover version of Dance With Me Tonight. That campaign, that got to number 14, the top 20 homegrown charts here, you know, in Ireland.
Right.
Phenomenal. And from that came we did the 2-hour takeover of a radio station in January. And like that again, Molly, Jack, all the other students, Dan, Kane, Callum, there was so many involved. They picked music that they wanted to play on that show. They took out popular culture kind of discussions. They did sort of vox pops, all this kind of thing. So we moved from having, like that, recording a song, getting it in the charts, having their own radio show, having the concert for the song last year, to then having this music industry panel. So it was kind of a natural progression. We were trying to say, look, we're here, we're in Birr, and we're doing this, and we want to help as many people as we possibly can. And that was really, I suppose, it kind of goes back to why we're doing it. But I'm delighted that, Zoe, that you picked up on it and you heard about what we're doing. It's
Well, that was it. Straight away, I saw it advertised in a local publication, and I said, that is a really timely conversation to have, because, as Jack has rightly said there, that is an issue so many artists nowadays come up against, is that it's a really oversaturated market. They just don't know the contacts. They don't know how to start, basically. So I assume in the weeks leading up to the event, you obviously had a lot of preparations. You had it in your head the way that it would go. But how did it actually go? Maybe, Jack, did you feel like there was anything coming out of it that you'd say, I would have done that differently? Or do you feel like it went as planned?
I think it went better than plans in some ways, and in other ways, yeah, there's definitely stuff we could improve on. There's always going to be stuff that we're going to be able to improve on. But I'm lucky that a bunch of my friends are artists, and they travelled from far and wide to come to the event, and all of them had really, really positive things to say about it. They all took away a lot of useful information and made a good few contacts. So I think it's really, really good how it went.
And the main question, do you think you're going to run it again?
I think so. I mean, we were aiming for maybe like 10 people to come, and we got almost 40.
Wow.
So it was a bit of a...
That was a big turnout.
Yeah, I mean, we had loads of people, Jack's friends coming from different places. We had local people coming in that were interested in it. We had loads, like, it was honestly a bit of a shock that we got as many as we did, but we're very happy. Like, we'd love to run it again next year, maybe change it up, do something slightly different, but we would love to. We can't announce yet, but I suppose it'd be okay, and it'd be fair to say that we'll have people who will probably come in on other panels we're going to do. They'll be covering things like IP, which is intellectual property. They'll be covering things like touring musicians. There's an act. There's somebody from a signed band who are touring all over the world right now who's agreed to come in and do it. We have ticketing organisations, and also one of the major promoters in Ireland has also agreed to do a talk or a panel discussion. So I'm hoping that Molly and Jack and the rest of the students. See, next year we've a level 6 course as well, which is, music media, podcasting with business. So next year being the first year that we're launching the podcasting course, that I'm hoping that we will do more panels like that, because it's a kind of a natural, I suppose, progression of it, and maybe some of the content can be recorded for podcasts.
Because it's a massive market at the moment, the podcast market. So like that, it is, as you say, it's a natural next step for you to offer that type of a course in this day and age. Well,
what I can tell you, Zoe, is that like in Birr, like we run a whole range of different courses, and I expect people are going to come in and want to do a podcast in Irish. They're going to they may be studying horticulture. They want to do it on that. Maybe somebody who's doing the sports course will want to, maybe do, an angle. Speciality
shows type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because I think that's the nature of podcasting, is it's finding those various niches. So like I know from people who've already come up to me, I deliver an IT class at night time, and some of those students want to, to do a podcast. Again, not necessarily on IT, but on something that interests them, and I suppose the local community. So, yeah, I would hope that that it'll be very successful but in a kind of very broad but yet niche way, you know.
Well, as you said, it's a first time for it, so it's a case of you'll have to try it, see what works, see what doesn't, and go back and revise it for the following year. But speaking of next year, Jack, I know that you have a project in the works.
Well, we have a couple of projects in the works at the minute, but I don't want to leak too much. But yeah, we have a compilation album focusing on Irish hip-hop coming out at some stage next year. It's still very bare bones right now, but there's a lot of work being done on it behind the scenes, so that'll be definitely something to look out for.
So a little bit of a watch this space type thing going on.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, we've said that, you know, I assume it's the end of May. It's probably coming to the end of year stint in college, but it's only just starting really for the poor Leaving Cert students. They're sitting down next week to do the exams. So from a student perspective, as two students who have chose the not so typical after Leaving Cert education path by going with further education course, Molly, would you have any kind of words of wisdom for students who are sitting their course or to sitting their exams as to what they should be thinking right now?
I had a very hard time in secondary school, I will admit that. I love further education. I can't stress enough how different it is from school for people who aren't the most comfortable in school. Going in as an adult to do education it's a completely different ball game. You're able to talk to the people that you're with on the same level. There's there's no difference because you're all adults.
There's less hierarchy, I suppose, than you have at school.
You're able to talk to your teachers or your lecturers, professors, whatever you want to call them, one-on-one. You're able to say, I'm struggling with this, I need help. But from the LOETB, I've been going there for 4 years. I've been doing different courses, and I have, since I joined the LOETB, I've worked on 5 of the 5 festivals in Birr. I'm on the committee for the Historical Society. I'm the secretary. I'm on the Stage Guild committee. I'm on the Vintage Week committee. I do a load of work with the theatre. I never would have done any of that. I was always too scared to, but because I went into the LOETB and they kind of pushed me to do different things.
Yeah, you have the confidence.
I have the confidence to do it. So I think anyone who's thinking about going into further education, probably if you feel that is what's best for you, do it. Like if you get there and it's not right, that's fine too. Everyone figures things out on their own way, but I really do think it is something that people should think more about, because it is a great option.
And I do think that a lot of the time, now maybe has changed since I was in school, but it definitely feels like a lot of people are just rushed into picking university courses and college courses because that's just the thing that you do. Like I know when I was in my Leaving Cert, it was never uttered that you do the likes of further education. But then when I went into my course and I went straight into it, when I was in second year then, there was people coming in first year that they were like, oh, I actually should have been in your year, but I took a year out and I did a media course in like that one of the further education colleges. And I can say they were light years ahead of us because the stuff that they learned was really practical stuff. We were only doing theory in first year and then we went on to do the practical stuff. So it's like they had a really good grounding from doing that in-between course before jumping straight into college. But I don't think a lot of people are aware that that is an option.
Zoe, I think that's key because, like I myself, I'm a further education student. That's how I came in. And I can tell you, if I'd went to, college or university direct, there's no way I would be sitting here doing the job that I'm doing today. Because you're dead right. It gave me the structure, how to, put a presentation together, how to write an assignment. So, moving then from further ed to higher ed became a very clean transition. And, presented, as I said, I simply wouldn't be doing the job that I have now. Only for further education. So I'm a massive advocate of what you're saying, Zoe, and indeed there what Molly is saying as well. And it's great to see, like we've had students like that who've come in and they've maybe started on a community education course, then they'll do maybe a level 3, and then it moves up to level 4, level 5 and level 6.
Yeah, they can progress.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then you can progress on through the higher link scheme to higher education if you want to do a degree in one of the colleges, universities or institutes. So it's a phenomenal stepping stone for people who don't necessarily think they have it. And you can maybe stay at home for the first couple of years. Yeah,
be closer to home because generally these training colleges, they tend to be closer to your home rather than in the big cities.
Absolutely.
But a question that I do have for you, John, is, as I said, it's coming up fast now to the summer. I've always wondered, what do teachers do during the summer? Do you have any projects lined up yourself for the summer months whilst you're out of the college sphere?
There's always I mean, the first thing is, obviously I'm going to put an awful lot of work into the podcasting before it starts in September. Yeah. That's going to be the key thing. There's always, I suppose, sort of side projects in the works. Like one summer, a couple of summers ago, I was in here doing an interview because we were doing the Tony McCarroll thing, ex-Oasis event that we're doing in Kennedy. And there was also, which I may revisit, I was offered a book deal a number of years ago, which of course is music industry based. So maybe that might be revisited. But there will be holidays. There's potentially holidays in Manchester and Berlin lined up at the moment.
Oh, you have to have, as they say, the work-life balance. You have to do a bit of play as well.
This is it.
But John, Molly and Jack, you have been fantastic. Thank you for so much of your time and for a few laughs along the way. Still to come, they say that a leopard never changes its spots, but can an artist change their craft?
Midlands 103.
You are listening to Encore Midlands 103 with Zoe Ryan, bringing you the latest and what's happening in the arts across Laois, Offaly and Westmeath. Now, earlier this week, Scripps Ireland announced their selected writers for their annual festival happening in Birr in July, and one of our own made the cut, Westmeath writer Liza Costello being listed. Lisa, thank you for agreeing to take my call this evening to discuss the achievement.
Hi Zoe, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here with you.
So Lisa, you have been chosen as one of the 3 selected writers for Scripps 2026 alongside Liam McCarthy and Elaine Maguire O'Connor. Now, over 180 scripts were submitted. Why did you decide to throw your hat in the ring? Because even though you're a seasoned writer, this will be your first play.
It's my first play, it is, Zoe. I've always wanted to write a play. It was something years ago, I love going to theatre and reading plays, but I was always working on fiction on the page, like short stories and the novel form. But I started something years ago and then I kind of tucked it away, and I saw the competition and I was kind of just toying with the idea of trying to write a play, and I just saw the competition and the theme caught my eye. It was Desire, and it reminded me of this character I'd come up with, Marion, and I just decided I would go back to this piece, which I thought was far too long. But actually, when I looked at it, it wasn't at all. And the more I looked at it, the more I realised that I felt the core of the story was this one particular scene in a garden, in Marion's garden, with her gardener, Lucas. And I just, when you start something and it gets a bit of momentum with you and then you just stay with it. So I was actually, when I submitted it, I kind of thought, well, that's a really long shot and, I can forget about it. But I was glad the competition had brought me back to the manuscript, and because I felt I kind of found the kind of shape of it. So I felt in the process of trying to write it for the competition, I wouldn't say I finished it, because a lot of the prize, of course, is going down and workshopping it. So I guess it's going to evolve, but I felt I had kind of done it a bit more justice than I had originally.
And you mentioned there about that, the week of it is that week-long residency. Now, that is with Eugene O'Brien, who time and time again will say on this show that we hail him as one of the great talents of the Midlands.
Absolutely.
What's it like to be able to have that closeness to Eugene, someone who's so well respected in the area, to have a full-on week with him?
It feels like a really generous thing, I think the Abbey do this thing called Time to Write, and it's like one day every month. And if you're a playwright or working on a play, anyone can do this. You can just I think you have to reserve a slot, but you basically show up and they give you a pencil that says Time to Write on it, and you just work on your play, in the kind of lobby bit upstairs where the bar is, in the Abbey. And then they always have a guest lecture. And the last time I went, Eugene was the guest lecturer. So he was really informative and interesting, talking about his own writing process. So, the prospect, I'm absolutely delighted. I can't tell you how thrilled I am to have been chosen for this, because it's such a gift, it's such a rare opportunity to be in a room with the likes of Eugene and the other playwrights as well. And I always think with writing workshops, there's something almost slightly eccentric about it, because we're all taking very seriously these fictional characters that we've made up. And I just can't wait. I can't wait to see how my play evolves and how other people's plays evolve and how that whole process works. And just to be down there in a beautiful town like Birr for a week, it sounds like massively daunting and massively exciting and amazing. I think it's the kind of thing where you just throw yourself in and come out the other end, probably changed a bit, maybe, I don't know.
But as well as having the likes of Eugene O'Brien there as a mentor, I suppose, to be able to kind of feed off and to be able to get, feedback on your work, to say, this is where it is now, how can I improve this? You're also going to have the opportunity to get your play read out by some professional actors as well.
Yeah, isn't that absolutely incredible? it's really humbling. Like I know that probably sounds a bit, but I find that absolutely amazing that like really respected actors are going to seriously, inhabit these characters that I created. Like I can't think of anything better, to be honest, as a writer. I really can't. It's obviously terrifying as well, but I'm really interested to see people inhabit those people. You know what I mean? I just can't wait to see that actually happening. I think it's an unbelievable package they put together for the writers for this program. Like, there's so much to it because you get the mentorship in the workshop, and then you get to see like a director and professional actors work on your script and perform it. Like I think I'll probably have to like go under a duvet for about a month afterwards because I'll be so overstimulated by the whole thing, because it just sounds like an amazing week, really. It ends with a bang, I guess. So
it does seem very exciting for, as you said, that you've written these characters and then to quite literally see them come to life in front of you by someone acting them out. But this isn't something that I suppose is new to you, because I said you have short story collections, you have novels, so maybe you haven't seen them acted out in that way, but you would be accustomed to people reading about these personalities that you've just devised yourself, and then you need to share them with other people and maybe have people come over to you and say, I love the character of whatever. It's as if the character's coming to life for them off your page.
Maybe, and I suppose a couple of nice reviews. I suppose there were the two novels, and then there's a short story collection that just came out last year. So it's wonderful, like, for that to happen, and publishers, put that faith in you. But I actually have found the experience of writing for the page quite not isolated, but it's sort of it's kind of in a bubble. Like, I mean, I live in Moat, I live here in the Midlands. I have two kids. I work as a freelance copy editor, so my life is kind of normally busy, like most people's life. I'm just busy with a lot of stuff going on, and writing has always been in this kind of bubble for me. So I just love, like, even in theatre, you talk about the company, I just love that, the idea that it's more social, that there's more people involved. It's not just you who has to pull it off. Other people are going to contribute. You're just contributing one part of it. I find that really interesting, and obviously I'm completely new to the world of theatre, but I'm really, really excited to be part of that. Even if it's just for this week. I mean, I hope it's not just for this week, but even if it is, it's just a wonderful thing for me, because like writing is actually quite this sounds very like smallest violin in the world, but it is lonely. Like, it is you are just doing it on your own and creating the characters on your own. And I suppose my novels came out during COVID as well, so maybe that felt slightly unreal, kind of separated from the world. We were all separated from each other then, I suppose. So I don't feel like I've had experienced anything like this at all. Even when you read a review, it's still, you don't know the reviewer, you haven't met them. Everything's very siloed. Does that make sense? I don't know.
No, it does. Yeah. I get it. It's nearly as if writing on the page can be quite flat, whereas, as I said, you're going to be able to sit in front of these actors and see them actually acting it out in real time. And as you said, there's other people involved rather than it just being you. But scripts do pride themselves on showcasing new plays and fostering fresh voices in Irish theatre, which is so important, to not always have the same people, to be bringing in and introducing new blood and giving them a platform to be able to get their pieces published. How important do you think it is that festivals like Script continue to do that?
Absolutely. I think it's crucial, because it's very, very difficult if, and I was going to say if you're not connected, but I actually think it's difficult even if you are connected, like to have work actually engaged with seriously like that, to have the support and the validation and just other human beings around you saying there's something interesting here. As I was saying, like, writing on your own is quite a kind of alone. You can easily be demoralised, and I just think those sorts of supports, without them, we won't have like the next, Eugene O'Brien or Enda Walsh. It just won't happen, because people really need that. You need to have a rope thrown down to you, and then you need to hang on to it for dear life and just not let go of it, So that's what a festival like this is, I think, really, in Ireland, we pride ourselves on supporting the arts, but like, if we don't have things like this in place, how far can that go, really? You do need actual tangible means of meeting people and your work being read and being connected with people. So I agree. I think it's essential, like, that there are programs like this, and if anything, we probably need more of them, really.
Absolutely. It's a case of, as you said, with any of these artistic ventures, for so long of it, it can feel like you're just doing it in isolation. And I know myself, that working in a creative sphere, sometimes I just really enjoy doing household chores because it's as if you can do them and you can step back when they're done and you can physically see what you have done.
I know.
Whereas you can be typing away at the
Absolutely.
laptop for hours and editing drafts and no one sees that. And it's like you can't come with the finished article. So as you said, sometimes it's about seeing that there is light at the end of the tunnel. It's about being able to show it to other people and to see that it can go somewhere. And that's what encourages people to keep chipping away and doing the things behind the scenes that we don't see for so long.
It does, absolutely. And then when you get someone else's perspective, suddenly that can shift something in your own mind and lead to an improvement, and on you go, you know. So, I know what you mean. Other things in life, the outcome can be so tangible. Like with anything creative, it's not always that tangible. You're taking terrible risks with your time on planet Earth, you know, sometimes when you put all this energy and time into writing. And no one's asking you to do it, so there is no guarantee. But I think I do feel strongly that there should be more ways of writers networking, like even in the Midlands. Like, I'm sure I'm not the only writer in Westmeath. There'll be loads of people writing in Westmeath. Like, it's a pity there aren't more kind of schemes or initiatives that are just simply about networking. You know, it doesn't have to be a competition or anything. I saw an initiative somewhere, I think it was in Brooklyn, but they used to have book swap parties. And I thought, wouldn't that be a great thing if you could introduce to Athlone or something like that, for people to come and swap books, and it would be kind of aimed at writers or just something like that. Because, as I say, it doesn't have to take a huge amount for people to feel connected, and then, you know, that their work kind of can get a second kind of lease of life out of that, you know. Yeah.
Lisa, it has been lovely speaking with you this evening. Thank you so much for giving me your time, and best of luck with next month with the Scripts project, and I hope that you get out of it what you're hoping to.
Thanks so much, Zoe. It's been a pleasure speaking to you too. Thanks for having me on.
And just when Lisa said it there, on the point of there being opportunities for writers to get together and bounce ideas off each other, especially in Westmeath, straight away I thought of the Inklings writing group who meet weekly in Mullingar, who no doubt will be heavily involved in the Mullingar Literary Festival next month, which does aim to showcase the work of Irish artists, not just from the Midlands, but across the country. We will have more on that event in the coming weeks. But up next, would you think that Indian and Irish dance and music have much in common? We'll be exploring that after this.
Midlands 103.
It is Encore with Zoe Ryan. Joining me now to discuss an exciting event, a social experiment of sorts coming to Dunamaise, is CEO of the Arts Centre, Ciara O'Connell, and Portlaoise creative Moumita Pal. Ladies, you are very welcome out to the Midlands 103 studios this evening.
Thank you for having us, Zoe. Delighted to be here.
Thank you, Zoe, for having me as well.
Now, over the years, Irish traditional song and dance has been fused with many other styles. And next month, Solas is coming to Laois, where we'll see Indian and Irish cultures collide. Moumita, where did the idea to fuse these two cultures come from?
Well, to talk about the idea, I will have to first take you back to 2020 when I moved to Ireland to do my master's at the beautiful University of Galway. Without knowing a single soul in Ireland, I packed my whole life in a single suitcase and decided to give myself a chance to explore what's out there in the world. And, you know, to my surprise, I immediately felt at home. And it's simply because of the kindness and the warmth I received from the Irish people. Slowly, when I got introduced to the Irish traditional music in the pubs, I found so many similarities with the rhythm and with the Indian music as well. It's all the same cycle of rhythm that I'm very used to in my culture. And then I saw the Irish dance, and there again, so many similarities with the footwork, especially in the Irish dancing, with the dance style that I practice, the Indian classical Kathak dance style. Footwork is one of the essence there as well. What was magical was none of us changed what we were doing. So the trad music was going on, and I just did my own Kathak dance, and they just beautifully came together to create a new harmony. And that is exactly what Solas is all about. How different cultures come together to share the same beat without losing their own individuality. And I suppose the idea became an event when I met Ciara, because she was so inspiring and she was so encouraging that we have to do this. Nothing like this has ever happened in Portlaoise, and we must try and, you know, bring this event together. So thank you, Ciara, for all the support that you've given me so far.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think to some people in their mind to think of Indian music and dance and Irish music and dance, they can seem very distinct, obviously opposite ends of the world. But when I first saw it advertised, I said, do you know what, I can see that, I can hear that. But Ciara, what was it that made you think to yourselves, this is something that we just have to hold in Dunamaise?
I think that Moumita has trust in me. I had the same trust in her when I met her. She came to me to pitch the idea. And I suppose apart from anything else, when you're working with somebody and you're working with somebody new, what will often get people over the line is passion. Passion and belief in what they're doing, and Moumita has that in bucket loads, and also being a classically trained Indian dancer as well and a professional, I knew that she would have the stamina to kind of take this new event where it needed to go. The Dunamaise is a long established arts venue, but at the heart of it is the community, and the community in Portlaoise and Laois is always evolving and changing, and Moumita is part of that community. And what I want is the Dunamaise to reflect that, to not only reflect what has been, but what now is and what will be into the future. And this event really truly brings, like two unique cultures together, and highlights and celebrates the similarities rather than looking at differences. We're looking at what's the same, but what makes us unique, like Moumita said, but also how we work together, how the music is similar and different, and like not only that, we're doing a couple of workshops beforehand as well where people can come and try the dance and kind of learn about it. Moumita was kind enough to send me a video of her dancing the other day, and more than anything what I could see in it was the joy in her face when she was dancing. That's infectious. The Dunamaise really wants to support creatives, both professional and emerging. So although Moumita is a professional dancer, this is her first time creating an event like that, and I am here and the Dunamaise is here to support that and take her through the process of what is needed as a kind of emerging producer to create an event. I'm really passionate about people finding careers in the arts, and Moumita is a prime example of that, a professional dancer bringing together two communities, but also kind of stepping into a new career path for herself as a producer, and the Dunamaise will do its utmost to support that. And we're looking at creating a scene. Do you know what I mean? We want to create that kind of Indian-Irish scene where both are together, both are mixing, and both are creating new, unique events that haven't been seen before, in Portlaoise, but maybe also not in Ireland. And she's bringing over her guru from India as well.
Yes, I had seen that.
Yeah, which I think you will tell us a little bit more about.
Yes, indeed. So on 20th of June, the audience will witness one of the 8 Indian classical dance styles, which is Kathak, an Indian instrument, tabla, Irish clarinet, Irish traditional music, and the Irish dance. And they will all be coming together. And I'm very honoured to have my dance teacher coming over from Calcutta, India, where I'm from, to Ireland. And he has globally performed in many different countries, but this will be his very first visit.
I had seen that to Ireland, yes.
Yeah, so the audience will get to see Ashimondhu Bhattacharjee doing traditional Indian classical Kathak dance, along with some wonderful artists coming together. The artistic director of the Art of Collaboration and acclaimed clarinet artist Dr. Paul Rowe. I have Sanatan Srivastava on tabla coming over from Dublin, and our wonderful local stars from the Camross Comhaltas and the Lynam School of Irish Dancing. So it's going to be a fun night where you will hear sounds and see movements that are familiar, yet very different is how I will put it. And as I am speaking about all these artists, my heart is just filled with so much gratitude, because when I approached each one of them, all these artists instantly said yes, hearing about the idea, simply for the joy of this collaboration. So that's what the magic of Solas is all about, that when different cultures come together, how we bring our individuality into it and create something new out of it. It's all about community, connection, and culture. That's how I would define Solas, and that's what is happening on the 20th of June. And as Ciara mentioned, that before the main event, we are also hosting a workshop with my teacher for anybody who is interested to know a little bit more about this dance style. And no prior experience is required. If you're thinking that you need to be a trained dancer to attend this workshop, absolutely not. You just need to have a desire to know and to be curious to learn about it. You're going to learn about storytelling. You're going to learn how to use your body, how to use movements to express. And through that, you will also get to experience what Indian Kathak dance is all about.
Talk to me about the dance itself. You mentioned it there, but maybe describe for anybody listening what the style of dance is.
It's one of the 8 Indian classical dance style. If I had to say 3 important features of this dance, it would be footwork, spins, and storytelling through the dance. So the Kathak, the word even comes from an ancient word katha, which means conversation. So in the ancient times, in the earlier times, how the dance evolved is through storytelling traditions. So this dance obviously involved a lot of movements to depict story. And when we talk about story, all of us have a story to tell, right? Mm-hmm. So you will not just learn Kathak dance, you will learn how to use body and movements for expression and for telling your own story as well. The dance style may be new, but let me give you an example. When I'm building the piece that I'm working with Sanatan on tabla and Dr. Paul Rowe on the clarinet, and we had a rehearsal last weekend, and we were working on what we call a tukra in my own classical dance language, right? And it goes tigdha, tigdha, thei, tigdha, dig, dig, thei, tigdha, tigdha, thei, tigdha, dig, dig, thei. Now, for Paul, this is absolutely gibberish, like he doesn't get what I'm saying, right? And in fairness to him, he was very open to try and say, tigdha, tigdha, but it's difficult for him.
Yeah.
But if you break it down, what am I saying? I'm saying 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2,
yes.
3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's the rhythm he already knows, he's aware of. It's just a different perspective, a different way of expressing it.
But you found a shared language.
Absolutely. Yeah. And with the Lynam School of Irish Dancing as well, they were very, very interested to see how these dance style is essentially, and they have been kind enough to come together for this collaboration and see how we can bring the 2 different dance styles on one single stage.
And I'm intrigued. You've mentioned that there'll be a special raffle on the night. What type of prizes can we expect that makes it so special?
The prizes that make it special, it's all Portlaoise local, right? It's all local businesses coming together to put a little bit of support.
Yeah.
And what's special is, I think I had no clue what a raffle is until I witnessed it in some of my work events, right? So for me, it's also brand new that
Irish
I'm including
culture.
it. Yes, absolutely. Let's bring some of that into. And it's always nice and exciting when we take a break to, make that break more interesting with a raffle.
Yes.
And I have the support of some lovely local businesses who will be contributing to the prize, and some exciting prizes are waiting for the audience through the raffle.
Fantastic, ladies. It sounds like a fantastic evening, and one that I suppose is needed. It's nice to see how our 2 different cultures can be so similar, as you say, when they seem so different. But where can people find out more about the event? If anyone does want to come along and they want to reserve a space on either the workshop or the night itself, where can they find out details?
Please just go to our website, www.dunamaise.ie, and you will be easily able to find and book your seats there. Be advised as well, those seats are selling, so get in there nice and early, and make sure, because you can book exactly where you want to sit, so get right up the front. This is going to be a really powerful performance, and the first of many, so be the one to say, I was there for the first one. So book your tickets, www.dunamaise.ie.
Moumita, closing remarks from yourself as to why people should come along to this event.
This event is not just for a musician or for anybody who is a dancer or anybody who is interested in culture. This event is for really anybody who is looking to see something new, yet something that is familiar. What makes this evening so special is it's not an Indian event. It's not an Irish event. It's an Indian-Irish event. And to every artist who are participating in this event, I have told them this is our event. It's not my event, because we are absolutely collaborating and we are co-creating this event. And the magic that happens during that co-creation is stunning. It's also my personal way of expressing my gratitude to this country and to the Irish community that have made me feel so much at home. So join us, come along on 20th of June at the Dunamaise Arts Centre. We open the doors at 6 p.m. for entrance and for the raffle tickets, of course. And so come along and support local arts, local artists, so that we can bring more of this to all of you.
And perhaps this is something that I should get you back on to talk about after the event has happened. But so far, how have you found planning this event? This is your first, hopefully the first of many. Do you think it will be the first of many? Is it inspiring you to say, yeah, this is great, I've got a taste for it now and I want to go back and do it again? Or have you gone, oh no, that's enough, I've tried it now, I've done it?
No, I don't think there is any undo button here that can stop me from not doing it again.
Fantastic.
Like I said, the joy of, collaborating and creating is just so wonderful. And the artists with whom I'm working, they are feeling it as well. After every rehearsal, the joy that I see in them, that, hours are shorter for the rehearsal. We always want to do a bit more. I think that's super powerful. And I don't think I'm ready to let that go. So it will definitely be one of the many. Yes, I am up on the walls. Days and hours are falling short because I also have a full-time job.
Yes, as is often the case for anyone organising these.
Yeah, but it's like I said, because it's my passion. So I'm ready to put in all my effort, all my time that it deserves more than anything else.
I think, unfortunately for Moumita's family, she's been bitten by the producer bug.
Okay.
And bitten hard, shall we say. But I think with production, a lot of the times it comes from the creatives. It comes from that passion. And as I said, Moumita has it in bucketfuls. The drive to make something happen is not unique, though. There are lots of people out there that have it, and they just need to take that first step into what can be a scary thing. But I think, as Moumita will testify, is we're supporting her through it. Yeah. And I think that she is a good representation of what a creative can do when they step into the production realm, and with the support of an arts organisation in behind them, what is actually possible. And I think it really sits at the heart of what the Dunamaise is trying to do, is kind of shine a light on the representation of the communities that are living and working in Laois. The Dunamaise is a professional arts centre, but there's also space for emerging artists and people who are finding, their career paths, and we can help guide people. We really, really want the Dunamaise to be the heart of the community that has always been, but to welcome in more people. There are people there that know how to use it, and what I'm talking to today is the people that don't, that haven't come across the threshold before, that have that idea, and we just want people to come and get in touch. We will help you to find the right path for you.
Ladies, as we've both said, the passion that you're both emitting for your respective roles, it is really infectious, and it's making me feel like I'm going, what have I been thinking of? Those things that I'm thinking of doing, I'm just going to go put that forward now. So hopefully,
chat after here.
Exactly. So hopefully the listeners today are getting that same level of enthusiasm from your passion that you're both emanating today. But thank you so much for making the venture out to the studio, talking about this wonderful event, and I look forward to seeing what you do with it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll see you on the 20th of June at the Dunamaise Arts Centre, or the workshop on the 19th of June.
Plenty of opportunity there to get involved.
Thank you so much for having us.
Up next, new music from a Laois musician.